Welcome to another episode of Trial Site News. Today we're going to be talking about a prominent Australian physician investigator who was fired by a major hospital for his views on COVID-19, and who is now fighting this in that country's Supreme Court. And so, from Trial Site News, I am Adrian, and our episode is starting right now. So, do doctors have the right to quote research results, even if they are disputed, challenged, or represent some controversial stance opposed to a formal government position? And what if the data is the result from their own research or real-world care? Well, the answer around the world is ever increasingly no, as national governments pressure medical professional licensing bodies and health systems indirectly to punish any medical providers that promulgate, quote, misinformation. Of course, misinformation is a broad term with many interpretations, and in Australia, health systems and hospitals take a heavy approach to handling their doctors. A recent example of this is Dr. Luke McLindon, a prominent physician who claimed that the COVID-19 vaccines were linked to miscarriages. This, of course, is quite controversial, and as such, Dr. McLindon was terminated from Mater Hospital a couple of months ago. However, Dr. McLindon and several other physicians did not take this lying down and have taken their terminations to court in the hopes of securing justice, which they now pursue in Australia's Supreme Court. Now, Australia has strict vaccine mandates, with near-universal immunization against COVID-19. Yet, we here at Trial Site News have chronicled multiple times now that more than twice the number of Australians have died in the first 12 weeks of 2022 due to COVID-19 than in all of 2020 and 2021 combined. And they aren't alone around the world. We've chronicled similar trends in New Zealand, Japan, South Korea, Singapore, and more. Clearly, there is a problem here. And as such, a combination of vaccine durability challenges and mutating RNA virus, which they are known to do, are factors behind this trend. In any case, Dr. McLindon is a highly respected physician investigator in this part of the English-speaking world. He is a top physician and key opinion leader in his specialities focusing on reproductive medicine. He is also a principal investigator for a series of randomized controlled trials. And Dr. McLindon has served as the president of the Australian Institute for Restorative Reproductive Medicine. Now, the specialist obstetrician and gynecologist worked at Mater for 13 years as the research lead of the fertility services unit at the hospital. Now, as far as any danger associated with the COVID-19 mRNA vaccines in pregnancy or breastfeeding, no correlation officially to adverse events or long-term risks have been substantially proven. At least not yet. But when it comes to McLindon's practice, he would counter such claims. The Australian mainstream press, however, refused to address this disturbing anomaly associated with the mounting death toll. Meanwhile, the Royal Australian and New Zealand and College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists are adamant that the mRNA vaccines for COVID-19 are safe and effective, and thus recommended for all women involved trying to conceive and who are pregnant or breastfeeding. The medical establishment across the developed world, in fact, argues that the data is clear. Not vaccinating exposes these cohorts to greater risks of COVID-19, including long COVID. Furthermore, representatives of this group expressed that there isn't any evidence pointing to the COVID-19 vaccine's adverse impact on fertility or greater chance of miscarriage, stillbirth, preterm birth, or other negative outcomes. So back to Dr. McLindon. Well, the official reasoning for his firing from the hospital was his refusal to, quote, comply with the state's vaccine mandate for medical professionals, end quote. However, Dr. McLindon claimed that he had a legitimate reason for opting out of the mandated procedure. In his case, according to court documents, McLindon cited both a heart condition and religious beliefs as reasons to evade vaccination. McLindon shared with his employer that he had already contracted SARS-CoV-2 and that he had built up natural immunity, which studies now have shown is at least comparable to the vaccines. In fact, some studies show that natural immunity may last longer, although with the Omicron variant, the virus more easily evades vaccines and natural-induced antibodies. Now the question has been asked, what if Dr. McLinden wasn't actually terminated due to the vaccine mandate policy? Some critics are claiming that perhaps he was terminated instead for investigating potential safety issues with the COVID-19 vaccines, including miscarriages. Well, according to the Brisbane Times, report chatter online associated with growing anti-COVID-19 vaccine movements suggest that this was the real reason for the removal. In the piece by Chloe Reed of the Brisbane Times, she delved into the level of activism that the doctor embraced, challenging the vaccines. For example, a combination of court documents, letters, and other data sources paints a picture of an intelligent activist researching, evangelizing, and organizing against COVID-19 vaccine mandates in Australia. From documenting adverse events associated with his patients, his references to his religious preferences, he is a Catholic, and his ongoing lobbying to politicians concerning his anti-abortion stance, McLinden perhaps addressed too many political chasms for his own good. This according to Chloe's article. Now, in support of his case to the Supreme Court, McLinden cited his own research on how, quote, high-risk patient populations for infertility and recurrent miscarriages have historically been at 12 to 15% miscarriage rate, saying that, quote, of the patients I treated in the 7 months, I found those unvaccinated share a historically low miscarriage rate of 13% in comparison to those who have been vaccinated prior to conception, who shared a miscarriage rate in excess of 70%. A bold claim. He went on to say that, as part of my research, I was involved in a Freedom of Information application to the Therapeutic Goods Administration requesting histology and microscopy of the gonads of test animals. This request has been declined 3 times. It has been rejected at internal review on September 27th, 2021, and a formal complaint of October 25th, 2021 remains unresolved. End quote. Now, McLinden believed that this information was critical, and consequently he expressed great concern about his willingness to advise his patients about the risks associated with the vaccine products. Now, it is worth pointing out, though, that the WHO, or the World Health Organization, has weighed in on the matter of pregnancy and vaccine, and as recently as February 15th of this year, is recommending that pregnant women who have not yet been vaccinated should indeed get the shot, saying that, quote, increasing evidence on the safety and effectiveness of COVID-19 vaccination during pregnancy suggests that the benefits of vaccination during pregnancy outweigh potential risks whenever there is ongoing or anticipated community transmission of the virus. COVID-19 vaccination before or during pregnancy is especially important in settings with moderate to high community transmission or for women at higher individual risk of exposure or severe illness. End quote. So what is next for Dr. McLinden? Well, his litigation is continuing its way into this Australian Supreme Court. And of course, we will be observing and then reporting on the outcome as it becomes available. Now, before I let you guys go today, a moment of your time to let you know about some developments over at trialsitenews.com. With widespread censorship on most major platforms, the quest for objective, independent, and unbiased information about health-related research becomes ever more difficult to obtain. Yet, what is more important than transparency in the sciences behind our medicine? Well, we here at TrialSite News have rolled out an element of a social network on our website, where users are free to start or join groups in the health research-related topics of interest to you. You can post important information, write and/or link to articles, raise or answer questions, and more at trialsitenews.com. And with our platform, you'll never have to worry about censorship because dialogue, debate, and even dissent over various hypotheses or theories remain key to ongoing scientific advancement in medicine. So if this is something that might interest you, consider using TrialSite News as a go-to hub for health-related information. And that, my friends, will bring our episode to a close once more. As always, thank you so much for joining me on the program today. From TrialSite News, I am Adrian, and I will see you all next time.